I'm delighted to welcome today Wendy Smith, who is a former Paralympian turned mental health specialist, author, radio show person, and all round good egg. So, welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Elaine. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So, where to start? Paralympian. I don't interview many Paralympians. I have interviewed some, but I haven't interviewed any this year. So, tell us about that.
Well, not something I ever envisaged as a child I would be doing, to be honest. And I was fully able-bodied until the age of 17 when I had a motorbike accident. So I was on the back of my best friend and we crashed around about 100 mile an hour. He got thrown off the bike. But unfortunately for myself, I got smashed literally to pieces. So I broke my back in 3 places and got what they call a lesion to the spinal cord at T6. So from the chest down, became paralysed. And then spent lots of other injuries, died a few times, and I won't go into like massive detail. And then I spent 8 months in hospital, first 3 months being told you're never going to walk again. And then the movement came back in my big toe on my left foot. So in my head, as far as I thought, well, the big toe's moving, so everything else will come back. The hospital wasn't as supportive and on the same wavelength as me. So in a way, I think that's what, number one, started my mental health journey as well, was that I wanted to know why. Someone tell me why my spinal cord has stuck itself back together and no one could. And then through that process, obviously I was then categorised as disabled because I could no longer run. I spent years and years doing all my own rehabilitation, and then through a friend stumbled across wheelchair basketball in 2002. And then loved the sport so much, by 2004 I was at a Paralympic Games.
Wow.
So it was like a explosion into getting my life back in a way, Elaine, to be honest, because I'd had what that been, 89, 99. So probably a 12, 13-year period where life had just gone into hold, into stasis. I couldn't work. The body wouldn't move and function how I wanted it to. So I'd sort of spent about 12 years rehabbing the mind and the body, and then sport gave me my life back.
Wonderful. And do you still partake in sport? I see we've got plenty of trophies on your top shelf there. Marvellous.
Yeah, that's the small end. This end, there's loads of medals and that as well. I like shiny things. So when I played basketball, I was very fortunate enough to play for some good teams, and we won the National League most years. And then I've entered lots of tournaments as well with groups of friends where we've won. And nowadays I tend to tutor coaches more than anything. So I came out of professional sport about 6 or 7 years ago now and went into tutoring instead. I still keep fit, but no longer play professionally. It's nice to have your weekends back. I think I spent around about 15 years playing basketball every single weekend.
Yeah, I know where you're at with that. I was a competitive swimmer in my teens, and it was always on coaches to different competitions and so on, and travelling in Europe as well, and competing there. And it's great, but it has a time limit, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I could still play now, but for the last sort of 6, 7 years, business. I've been working more on where do I go now. It's like the next stage up transition.
Yeah.
So,
whereabouts are you based, Wendy?
I'm down in Tiptree in Essex, where they make jam. Wilkins and Sons Jam Factory.
Lovely, lovely.
No, I don't live in the jam factory.
No, that's good. That's good to know. But if you did, well, hey, Willy Wonka lived in a chocolate factory or something
Exactly.
or other. So, when you say you played for good teams, is it a team? Was it a team in Essex?
Yeah. So the first team I played for was a team called Essex Outlaws, and they were a great group of lads. They really were. I had so much fun. I remember when starting with them, we started off in the 3rd division. And by the time I'd finished with them, we were up in the Super League. Wow. So we transitioned through, and we won the National League pretty much every year, transitioned through those. And then I played for a women's, I've obviously played for Great Britain, and then I played in a women's league as well, because that was like a mixed league, more of a men's league, the Essex Outlaws. And then I played in a women's league as well for quite a few years, and then I coached the women's league. So I normally played for three, 4 teams a year. So it's a lot of travelling.
Yes, yeah. And I ran with Essex Ladies, and I did was running and cross country and hurdling and stuff. I wondered if it was Essex Ladies. That's why I asked.
Ah,
Anyway,
no, Essex Outlaws. Essex Outlaws.
right,
Good group of lads.
cool, excellent. So, when you say your mental health journey, what did you mean by that?
Well, everybody, I like to call it mind health more than anything, because that word, isn't it? Mental health tends to make people think that there's something wrong with you. There actually isn't. We all have a mind, and the mind works in mysterious ways, as they always say. Mine was, but waking up one day in a body that didn't work. So that's where it sort of started. So I started wandering into the realms of depression and a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. So I sort of, for a long period of time, wandered into the negative side of life. I would wake up in the morning and just think, why me? Victim mentality. What have I done to deserve this? And I just started becoming more aware of my thought process and what it was actually doing to the body. So for a long period of time, I did go quite downhill. I had suicidal thought episodes and I was self-harming. So doing just the frustration, like I say, I'd wake up with this brain that was able-bodied, but the body, it was like literally dragging someone else's body about with me. And again, the frustrations of not being able to work. I grew up in a working family. I grew up in a pub. So we'd worked since we were 5 years old. So the thought of not being able to engage and put value into something and feel like I was of value again, that really hit me hard mentally. And just not being able to function, it just felt like I couldn't really function in life as I could before. I think it would have been easier if my brain had been wiped when I had the accident. So I'd have woken up and not known the before state, but I'd had 17 years of being able-bodied, high-performance athlete at school, always out and about, to then literally just having all that taken away and stop, you just physically couldn't do the things, carry a cup of tea. I'd end up with, if I tried to carry a cup of tea, I'd end up with half a cup of tea by the time I got to where I was going. People always wanted to help you, and I wasn't very good at receiving help. I'd do it myself, I was one of those type of. So I went on this really interesting journey through my own darker side, really. And then I got to a point somewhere in the early 2000s where a friend of mine said, you really, really need to understand what you're doing to yourself, Wendy, because, you're thinking yourself into this space. The depression you have is yours. No one's giving it to you. You're not like this because someone's done something. And I could never really grasp what she was talking about. So she packed me off to see a friend of hers to do an NLP practitioner course, neuro-linguistic programming. And it was interesting because what it taught me is my mind, how my mind works, how my emotions work, how my beliefs work, how my storage runs, situations that are happening now. And it was like the biggest kick up the backside for self-responsibility, ownership and self-awareness. And when I came home, the funny thing was I'd done 7 days of this intense course. And I came home and I was actually even more depressed for 3 days because I thought, oh no, everything in my life I've generated myself. But then after that 3 days of sort of processing all the information, I thought, wow, if I've generated all that rubbish, I mean, not everything was rubbish, but if I've generated all this rubbish, now that I know how my human system works, what can I do with the future? And that was when everything sort of flipped. I started thinking more the what if I did this? What would happen if I tried that? And, started regulating my thought process, challenging it. So when I'd hear a negative thought, I'd go, that's interesting, really? How is that going to help you today? So I started just becoming aware. And I found the more aware I got, the easier it was to then start sorting out all the bits that were causing issues, create solutions for them, and then keep moving up that little ladder bit by bit, to a better mental space.
Brilliant. And it's so important to acknowledge where you're at, and it's okay to feel sad and depressed and lonely and angry and all these different emotions, but it's not okay to stay there, is it, when we have tools within us to actually turn things around?
Yeah.
So, I see on your shelf again, 50 Ways to Change. Is that the book that you wrote?
Yeah, that came about. I'd had the title of a book in my head for years, that 50 Ways to Change, and I never really knew what it was. And I went to a friend of mine is into network marketing, and she said, I'm going to this GoPro conference in Las Vegas, come with me. She said, you'll love it all, it's got all motivational speakers. And I thought, right, I'm not into network marketing, but yeah, I'll go along, like, as a friend. And every morning she was late, Elaine. So I'd be sat down in Starbucks in the morning, and she'd say, I'll meet you at 9 o'clock. She'd never get there till 10. So I always had an hour sat in Starbucks in the morning in the hotel. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to write a book. So I basically wrote it while I was in Las Vegas in the morning waiting for my friend. And I've read so many personal development books that I love. I love all of them. One thing I found, there was a slight element missing to all of them. I'd read all this information and go, wonderful. I know that, but what do I do with it? Mm. So what that book is about, it's got 50 of my favourite awareness raising statements, basically, or things that have really resonated with me to wake me up. And then the second half of the book, it pulls apart what I call your map of reality. So it'll take you through loads of little exercises to work out where you got these things, recognise them and how to change them. So I just thought I'd do it as a bit of a guide of how to as well.
Yeah.
So half the book is, this will give you the information to sort of make you curious and think and contemplate. Then the second half of the book is, this is how you apply it in life to get results.
Sounds awesome. Is it available on audio by any chance?
No, funny enough, I've got to do this now because you've just said it as well. You're the third person in the space of 2 weeks to say to me, can I get it on audiobook? And someone said to me, I'd love it in your Essex dulcet tones.
Yes, yeah, you have to do it yourself because it's more meaningful there. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and when the author has narrates it themselves, it's far more meaningful because it comes from their heart. And it's when you hear this kind of monotonous nonsense from other people who are just reading it because it's a job for them, it doesn't hold the same weight. So yes, please.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to now that you're number 3, Elaine, now that you've said that, that's it. I've got to find out how to.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But you can get it, you can grab it on Amazon. It is available on Kindle on Amazon, or just buy it in a hard copy. So
I'll wait for you to tell me that it's available on Audible.
I'll do one better. I'll do the audio and send it off to you first, so you can.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll proof it or audio it or whatever the thing is. I'm the same. When people say to me, "Oh, do this or do that," I go, "Yeah, look at it," or maybe just park it. But it's with me as well. It's 3. If I hear something 3 times, I wake up, and I go, okay, I better look at this now.
Yeah,
so
you like say you're number 3, so that's it. It's probably done now.
Awesome. So, you also host a radio show. Tell us about that.
Well, that came about. Funny enough, I was on it this morning, so it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and that came about through a friend of mine who was one of their presenters, and she interviewed me, and then the station said they're looking for more presenters. Would I like to do that? So I started. When did I start? Middle of 2020. I started with them, and it's called Reality Bites. You get to choose your own show name and your own sort of synopsis of what you want to talk about. And the reason for Reality Bites is I just wanted to speak to people about life journeys, because I do a lot of work in schools, and most of the children, through our indoctrination process, think that you just have to be born into it if you're going to, be successful, have money, whatever it means success to you. And it's like I'm always saying to the kids, we're all born equal. You have everything, every resource you want on the inside. You've just got to learn how to get it out and do something with it. And so I wanted to just talk to people about life. How did they get to where they are, and what have they learned along the way? So, and obviously with everything that's gone on over the 2 years as well, some of the people that I've had on my radio show, because the actual station Kind of Sound is all about community, non-indoctrination, sharing a bit of love and light around the plane of existence. So, they've got a really good ethos behind them, and no subject is unspeakable.
Oh, nice.
So it's been lovely to be able to talk about openly and honestly about the legal system and how we've all been tied down and enslaved under things that people don't have any comprehension of. Being able to talk about, vaccines or not vaccines, about efficacy, all of these things that no one really has any knowledge of. They just watch the TV box in the corner of the room and believe everything to be true. And then I've had Sasha Stone on.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'd run away with him tomorrow.
Oh, it's absolutely lovely. The funny thing was, when I Sasha was my second show, which was on, actually Valentine's Day. So I started in February 2020. And I was thinking, who do I know that's full of love and light that I could have on? And I always thought Sasha was really connected to love and light. And it was so funny because obviously he was quite aggravated and angry about everything that started off in March 2020. So he'd obviously known it was coming. So when he gets on my radio show, it's funny, on Valentine's Day, I was expecting like, oh, love, and we're going to talk about, and we didn't. We pulled apart the whole of time in itself from his perspective of how we got into this model of reality we see now. And it was like, wow, that was probably a big wake up for me, actually, to hear some of the subjects he covered, and just knowing about, you know, these globalists that are running everything for a particular agenda, and then being able to actually go and look at the documentation and go like, wow, how are we not taught all this stuff? So I've had a really eclectic mix of everybody from healers to lawyers to people like Sasha. So I just get to have lovely conversations with what I call, you know, real people having real experience and sharing that.
Brilliant. That's what I used to love about my radio show when I was over in the UK. It's excellent. You have to be so careful these days. You can't say anything for fear of upsetting somebody or other. But I'm actually the other way. I just say what comes out, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, hence the YouTube channel getting banned. So.
Yes, yeah. I've only had one video banned so far, but my reach on Facebook is hopeless. I've got 5,000 contacts and 4,000 in a group, and hardly anybody sees anything that I put out these days because I'm shadow banned, as they call it, or ghosted, or whatever the term is. It's hopeless. But anyway, there we go. We strive on. And,
Indeed.
You can't put a good woman down, as they say.
Definitely not, no.
So what advice would you give to people who are struggling, maybe people who are in, you know, feeling poor me, why me, you know, all that stuff? How can they get out of that scenario?
First of all, you've got to make a decision you want to. I mean, I think that's the most powerful, you know, probably the most powerful decision you'll ever make in your life, the choice, what do I want something different? And as long as you truly connect to that and decide, yes, I want something different, then you've got lots of options. But I think the first place I always say to people is, you know, where does it all come from? If you think about most people's depressions, anxieties, and that, it normally comes from our system of indoctrination. It always goes back to, it's not education. We're indoctrinated to compete against each other, compare ourselves to each other, feel not good enough, feel not worthy enough, you know, feel like we'll never achieve enough, in some sense, in that space. And then a lot of people will experience negative social backgrounds within their families, or, you know, so you have that aspect to add in as well. But it's remembering that that's not you. You're a powerful energy being down here in a flesh suit having an experience. So the first thing, part of anything, is connecting back to you, to the heart space, getting back into your heart, out of your head, back into this space, back into the heart, and knowing who you truly are. And then when you get back connected to the who you truly are, all of that other stuff will start, it's sort of non-consequential in a way. It will start dropping away the layers. You can start peeling them off then. And I always say to people, never blame or judge your past. That's gone, that's done. It's no one's fault. It's just the choice you now make in this moment is going to dictate where you go, good or bad. So the first thing is make a choice, get back to that heart connection. There's so many different things you can do to get back to heart-based living, you know, that you, who really are you? You know, you're not the person that didn't run as fast as the other person. You're not the person who didn't get 98% in your test. You know, that's not you. That's just stuff that people applied to you through your journey. You know, just get connected back to the self. And when you connect back to the self, like I say, a lot of that stuff drops away.
Absolutely. It's so important, because we tend to work on emotions and you know, react with our emotions, but then we get in our way with our logic. We try and put logic on things, and then, oh, if, but, maybe, possibly, could have, should have, would have type thing, you know, takes over, doesn't it? And then we go back into feeling unworthy and so on and so forth. But acknowledging where you are is so important. Okay, well, I feel shit, but okay, what can I do about it? But a lot of people don't even get to that next bit. What can I do about it? Do they? They just go, oh, poor me, poor me. So the people that I support with, well, I come with a health warning. I say to people that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'll tell you what you need, not necessarily what you want to hear. And basically, don't darken my door if you're a victim, because I can't help you. If you don't want to get well, if you don't want to reverse your bad health, and you're not prepared to put the work in, there's nothing I can do to help you. You have to make the decision. So that's the first thing I ask people: why do you want to live? A lot of my people I help have literally been sent home to die. The NHS can't cut poison or burn them any further. They've done everything that they know how to do, and so they're sending them home. So I say, well, why do you want to live? Do you want to live? Why do you want to live? And then we work from there, and so on and so forth. So making a decision, as you made a decision when your little toes started working. Do your toes work today?
I walk with walking aids. So
okay,
my only goal in life, Elaine, is to run again. That pretty much is, my overarching, what keeps me going every day is the fact that in here somewhere is this want to run again.
Right.
So I just keep plowing forwards. Tomorrow's another day. I can have another go. Every second of the day is another chance for me to change my perspective, view things in a different way, fall over, cry, get up and start again. It's, it's just life is I do hate the word journey, but it is a journey.
It is,
isn't it?
yeah, it is, yeah.
It is a journey, and it's just, it's what you do in every moment that counts. And I always think as well, it's what you do when you're down that counts. That's going to make you what you do in that space. I mean, for me, if I feel down, I'll have a cry. Someone said something lovely to me the other day, actually. I'm not really a religious person, but I do believe in an overarching force of energy in this universe that's the creator of whatever this is. And someone said to me, crying is the creator's way of relieving anxiety and depression.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just thought, actually, that really resonated in my body when that was said to me, because it was like, actually, it is. If you're feeling really down, really anxious, have a good cry, because it's just energy, emotion, energy, emotion. It needs moving.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, any emotion needs moving, needs acknowledging, experiencing it, and then moving. What I do now, I've not had a television for over 25 years, and I've not read a newspaper in that time as well, because it's just propaganda nonsense. And that's a problem. Lots of the population of the world, never mind the UK, are just believing everything they're told, and they're indoctrinated. If I had school-age kids today, I would take them out. There's no way I would send my children to school. No,
I'm seeing the school system breaking down. I mean, massively. But like you say, I always look at it like, when it comes to nutrition, being a sports person, always like to make sure one of my business partners is a naturopath as well, who specialises in gut health. So what she's made me aware of in my body, even though I thought my diet was good, it wasn't good for me. I was getting issues, and she's like, well, it's because your gut doesn't like this.
Yes.
Cut these out and you'll feel better. Then your energy will be better, then your emotions will be better, then your thoughts will be better. So me and her sort of work like this with the whole body system. Anything that you're feeding yourself, whether it's through your ears or through your eyes or through your senses or through your mouth, is having a result on your body and what you do. So I say to people, if you want to feel happier, turn your TV off. If you're going to watch it on purpose, and be very, very aware of what you are actually watching, because it's called a television program because it's programming you in some way, shape, or form. It's all there in the language. So if you're watching the news, our brain has no concept of the difference between imagined reality and reality. So if you're constantly watching the news, or you're constantly watching EastEnders, or all these programs where people are rowing and shouting and everything's doom and gloom, your brain will start projecting that out. So then wherever you go in the world, that's all you're going to see. You're not going to see what could be here if you weren't feeding yourself the rubbish. So I always say to people as well, if you want to change anything, first of all, be aware of the thoughts, because you're not your thoughts. They're just things that wander through your mind. This can be very useful, the mind, when you're using it on purpose. If you're not using it on purpose, it's had so many years of programming, it's going to be running stuff daily for you that you're not even aware of. Tune into it, have a listen to the thoughts and go, wow, it's an interesting one. Where did that come from? Not sure I want that today.
Not judging as well, just
Yeah.
accepting, listening and not judging, observing, being the observer, I think is really good.
If people just say to themselves, wow, that's interesting. That's a really interesting thought that just went through my head. It does that, doesn't it? It detaches you from it.
Yes.
Because now you're viewing it and you're going like, that's curiously interesting. How's that going to give me a result? You know, and when you get a good thought stream going, follow it. So when you get those good thoughts, the same thing, when you hear them go like, wow, that's interesting, I like that. How does that one feel in my body? And start enhancing your life with the positive. And when you get the negative, just check it out and go, do I really want that? No. What do I want instead? Questions, powerful. Questioning in yourself is a very powerful process if you use the right questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll break those little neurological patterns that we've had set in for so long and, you know, shift into a different gear.
On the crying, releasing emotion things, what I've started doing from time to time is watching on my computer things like the best auditions from Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent and all those things. I would never in a million years have watched those type of programs, you know, the old me. But I find that that some of them are so happy in the amazing talents that people have, and that they make me cry, which makes me feel happy. But you know, it's happy tears.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you, I think, try. And as you say, if you're watching things, watch on purpose, watch purposefully, if that's such a word.
That is. It's to live life on purpose, isn't it? Because we've been, if you think about emotional intelligence, you know, thought processes, heart coherence. I mean, you must know about heart coherence.
Yes.
Something that we're never taught, but the heart's the biggest electromagnetic generator in the body. It sends 9 times more signals up to the brain than the brain sends down. It's got an electromagnetic field that's 5,000 times stronger than the brain. You know, this thing is heart number 40,000 sensory neurites. It stores information separate to the brain. You know, this is the one that pumps your body full of feel-good chemicals. If you focus in on it and feel a bit of compassion, gratitude, or appreciation, do that for 2 to 4 minutes. You're pumping your body full of 1,100 feel-good chemicals. It connects you into the universal grid. You know, it increases your relationship, enhances relationships. Can you imagine if everybody was doing it 4, 5, 6 times a day? Everyone would just be floating about in a space of bliss. The plane of existence would change overnight. But we've never been taught this stuff.
No.
We've never been taught how to operate the mind. Just to think, remember, and regurgitate information.
Yeah, sit there, do as I tell you, not as I do. Sit there, don't ask questions, behave yourself. You know, it's ridiculous. It's, as you say, it's indoctrination. It's not education.
It's
and
not
then
at all, no.
We leave school and we start to go in the big wide world, and then wonder why so many people have mental health problems, because they're not prepared, are they?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Anyway, there we go. So how do people get hold of you, Wendy?
So I have a website, wendysmith.me.uk. I have another website as well, ultimateretreats.life. Me and my business partner run retreats a couple of times a year off season, where people can come down and actually experience this. So get educated on the mind and body and how to get results, and then have a lovely old time in the process as well. So we do that. So yeah, those two really on the website. You can find me on Facebook. I no longer have a YouTube channel, as I say, again, because it was taken down. I'm ceremoniously dumped overnight. So yeah, on Facebook, LinkedIn, you can find me as well. Normally under Coach Wend or Coach Wendy.
Brilliant. Okay, so wendysmith.me.uk.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you for your time this morning, Wendy.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Elaine. It's been fun.